Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Deckin Around the Plug. Today, we are really excited to have Kevin Ho on to talk about the ArrowDynamix V2 from Momentum Cards. But before we jump into it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
And ring the bell. Right, Kevin?
Yep.
So Kevin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. We just did the 24-hour bonanza thing over the last weekend, and I'm still recovering from it.
Yeah, man.
You and me both, buddy.
It's tough to bounce back from that. It makes you realize that staying up all night is definitely like a younger person's game. Like,
yeah, I haven't done that since college, really.
Well, it's the same as like hangovers. Like, you don't bounce back from hangovers as much as you get older. Like, I think sleep deprivation is just another form of a hangover, I guess.
That's true. I think so, in some cases it might be worse, sleep deprivation. Like,
yeah.
I've heard of people like hallucinating and stuff, you know.
Am
I really here? Am I really here?
That might be pretty interesting, all things considered. But yeah, I mean, I could see that because like visuals and everything, especially as you get tired, your brain tries to like figure stuff out. It's not as quick at figuring out the world around us as it usually is. So I could see that.
Speaking of visuals,
yeah,
this is version 1, obviously. So let's get into version 2. 2, man.
All right, so here it is. So this is
tell us about this thing.
All right, so in August, I put out a deck of cards called ArrowDynamix. It was a part of my new brand Momentum.
Yeah.
And these cards are designed with arrows theming the deck in servitude to like motion and displays and patterns for cardistry. Yeah. So the conceit is that they have a vertical arrow on the back and a horizontal arrow on the faces. And I started with ArrowDynamix in like 2015. That's when I kind of came up with the concept. Nice. And it was just me like drawing arrows on the front and backs of cards. And so I have this move, a sleight called the bob change, where you do like that, and then it's like a shapeshifter, but you turn the card over. I noticed that when you did it with the arrow cards, it kind of suggested a sequence of motions for you to follow.
That's so cool.
So you could like do an isolation routine like this or something, and have the arrows inform what the next motion is going to be. So that led to more discoveries and other things with the cards. Like one of the other ones I like is this packet switching thing that you can do. It looks kind of neat. And also for like the isolations that are kind of inspired by the magnetic baton things that Zach Mueller does, where I think it's like they're going like this and they're going around like that there. It also connects in kind of a fun way. So there's a lot of things to explore with them. There's people who've done like cuts, spreads, displays, even fans and other flourishes with these. And the arrows can serve to either create a pattern in the motion, or it creates this feeling of like chaos and things like moving off in all sorts of different directions. Yeah. So the deck did pretty well, sold out in like a week or in like a few days, I forget. And so right away we began working on the second version of it, and that's what I'm here to plug today, I guess. So V1s and now, the V2 colorway, yeah.
Oh, before you get into V2, now the one thing I thought was super cool was your little addition to the deck. You know, let's see if we can get that thing to focus. Oh, of course, right when it focuses.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
You know, the up, down, down, left, right, and then you open it up.
BA.
Yeah, the BA on the tab here, on the flaps. BA, and then you have start here.
Yep.
I thought that was super cool. Do we have anything like that on the 2?
It's the exact same thing. So this obviously is a tribute to the Konami cheat code, which is up, down, down, left, right, BA, start. Yep. So yeah, this is the V2 deck. This is the colorway. It's black on yellow. And once again, over here, got up, down, down, left, right, BA, and start here.
Nice. So cool. I mean, it's obviously the black and white is classic colors. You know, a lot of decks just look really, really classy, and they pop with those 2 colors because of the contrast. And the colors that you came up with V2 are so much more noticeable, right? Because that's the colors that we see while we're driving everywhere.
Yes, yes, yeah.
You know,
it is definitely inspired by street signage, and yeah, even down to, so another modification from the ones and the twos is that if you look at the arrowhead for the V1s, it's pretty much like a triangle, you know. And so for the V2s, you can see that it's like a little bit dipped, so it looks more like a street sign arrow.
Yeah.
Like when you see the ones in traffic and all that. And also, the bottom of the V2 back design has a kind of ribbon-like tail of the arrow. Nice. And the reason for that is that on the V1s, this side of the box has this interesting arrow tessellation where it looks like there are black arrows going up, but the negative space in between the black arrows forms a white arrow that you know, are all pointing down. Right. Might be easier to see it this way. If you think of the black as the background and the white as the foreground, then you know, you have a bunch of white arrows going this way. So because we modified the arrowhead for the V2s, that meant that in order to create the same tessellation, the bottom of the tails had to be a little bit curved inwards like that in order to facilitate that arrow. So you can still see there's a bunch of yellow arrows pointing down and tessellated with the black arrows pointing up.
You know,
I mean, I think it's cool. Yeah, I think it's cool that not only just a recolor, you actually made some changes, you know, which is really cool. Which there's not anything wrong with a recolor, in my opinion, but it's cool that you just made slight changes that definitely, you know, adds a little bit to it. You know, you added that border as well, which I noticed.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So I'm gonna pull out a card from each. So with the V1s, it's the arrow, black background, and then a white border around it. For the V2s, we added a bit of trim. So this way, you've got yellow back design, white border, and a bit of black in between the yellow and the white to give it some definition.
Nice.
And make it look even more like a street sign.
Yeah, I dig it. I like it.
Black border around it.
Yeah. And I think you could have, I'm glad that you went with the white border rather than the black border touching the end.
Yeah, the problem with black borders is that for instances of heavy card handling, the corner border tends to chip off. The paint the ink actually comes off over time, and it looks a little less than ideal.
Yeah, so, I like to say it looks disgusting.
Yeah, they definitely do there. You know, it definitely gets a worn look real quick. But no, I love the new feel of it, because I know originally when we had talked about the V1s, when you had been on Deckin Around, you had mentioned that a lot of the motivation did come from street signs. So to see that kind of more street sign colored thematics with the V2 is really exciting. And I really do love the way it looks, though. I think the yellow and black is such a great contrast, similar to the white and black, which allows for a lot more focus on the designs when they're in motion.
Yeah, another kind of change, I guess, is that for the black and white, we had a white on black arrow on the backs, but a black on white arrow on the faces.
Yeah.
So this does create a kind of like negative space effect between the two, but for the V2s, the black arrow is a consistent factor on both sides.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it also features the modified arrowhead and the tail for consistency's sake.
Yeah, I like that tail. It's cool.
Yeah. It almost looks like you could oh, that looks so good.
Oh, that sound.
Yeah. I think the cool thing about it, like I said, you know, the fact that the arrows are so big and they contrast so well against the background color, you can still clearly see them even in quick motion sequences, which really allows for you to bring a second layer of, you know, visuality to the cardistry move. So, you know, one of the things that we had talked about probably with the first one, and I think with this one as well, is, you know, just the ability to well, first off, like you said, kind of predict or show the intention of the next move in a sequence if you're doing isolations, but also the idea that you can do even much more complex things where the arrows pointing out could indicate, you know, some sort of movement that's going to go from smaller to larger and things along those lines.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's you know, a way that they can like telegraph moves that are coming up. One of the ways that you can use the deck is to create new moves by like doing an opener, seeing where the arrows are pointed, and then trying to follow it to see what kind of new motions you can create with that.
Yeah, I really dig that. I dig that aspect of it.
You could definitely like bring games into it too, like have two opponents kind of, like you showed us before, following the path, right? And maybe you have a certain amount of time to get to, through 10, 12 cards, or whatever. I mean, obviously, I don't know much about cardistry to the point where I can be creative enough, but I'm sure there can be some cool creative ways to
there's definitely possible with these.
Yeah, that's exciting. So when do we expect to see these, huh?
So they're coming out Thursday morning, 11 a.m. EST on my website. Yeah, it's on my website, www.momentum.cards. For real-time updates, you can also follow the Instagram account for Momentum on Instagram at momentum.cards. So I'll be posting like as soon as it's up. I'll also probably be posting on my visual.madness account on Instagram as well, just to get the word out.
Which we'll be linking to all of that down below as well, including the momentum.cards and both Instagrams, because if you're not following Kevin and you're going to follow him just for these cards, that's a great way to start. But you should be following Kevin even if you're not interested in the cards, because his content is phenomenal. No, I think, man, you really it's funny because I think we're getting into almost a new era of cardistry where people still know who you are, but people don't know that everything you've brought into cardistry over the past, decade plus. And so in reality, like, the more people who follow it, the more they're going to realize, like, oh, wow, like Kevin Ho had such a foundational impact on what cardistry is today. And this is why he has this brilliant idea of arrow cards that can predict or telegraph the motion, but look so amazing. It's because you are one of the OGs of cardistry and understand these underlying motions in cardistry, probably more so than most people.
Yeah.
Well, here's one for you, Steve. Like, if we get to this position here, it actually telegraphs the hoe drop.
Oh, dude.
Yes.
The fact that he called it the hoe drop.
I love it. I love it.
That's so good.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, see, that's the funny thing is, like, when we had you on, and obviously I watch cardistry, I like to be involved in all that. I don't, I do practice the moves I find to be cool, like, backdrop and Lego Love and other cool things like that. But the thing is when we had you on, and I've seen backdrop in every cardistry video. Let's be honest, everybody does it in every cardistry video because it is literally one of the coolest looking things in cardistry.
And
so when we
had
you told us that you created that, I was like, what the F? Like, literally, it's so cool to just find that out when I did. But the fact that you developed that is just is pretty cool,
Yeah.
Nice.
No, it really is one of the cleanest like closers too. I think it adds like such a nice little like flair to the end of a performance of any sort, and it really leaves people on that wow factor. So it makes sense that so many people use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the name comes from obviously, a background like backdrop, but it's also called that because it's like the cardistry equivalent of a mic drop.
Nice.
So you ready?
Hey, there you go.
I can do it now. Not 100% all the time, but I can at least do it, which is good. I can probably get it 75% now. You
also weren't looking though, which is impressive as well.
Oh, so I can do it without looking. Yeah,
that's good. You're getting comfortable with the move. That's good to see.
I mean,
I feel like when you first learn a move, you're always looking at your hands or at the cards to make sure you're in the right place. And I think the sign of fully understanding a move is being able to do it without seeing it, just relying on your body's ability to tell where your hands are. So
I can't rename it if I can't do it, right?
When I used to hang out with the Bucks, sometimes they'd be doing some stuff, and I would ask them, "Hey, what was that?" And they were like, "I don't know," because they weren't paying attention to their hands. They're just doing it out of habit.
That's so funny.
That's funny. That's what Dan said actually when we talked to him last time. He said, "Yeah, he'll be sitting on the couch and he'll do a move, and he'll be like, oh, what did I just do?"
Yeah, like try and backtrace it so you can figure it out, but like it's lost to time at that point, which it's almost like you need like a 24/7 like camera on you while you're doing it, just so you could like do an instant replay if you needed.
Or they like tattoo the name of the moves like in Memento.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Oh my god.
I just do. I have a condition.
For those of you who don't know Memento, go watch the movie. That's all I'm going to say about it. Let's move on.
We'll link to the IMDb below as well. So.
Yeah, definitely watch.
Every 10 years, Christopher Nolan comes out with a different like mind-bending film. So like 2000 was Memento, then 2010 Inception, and then this year Tenet.
Yeah, well, you can only come up with life-changing movies so often, right?
Yeah. It takes time to come up with those and really get them fully developed for sure. So Kevin, you excited for this this next step in the Momentum Cards brand?
Yeah, I am stoked for this to come out. Like the first one's really well received so far. People have been liking the color on this one, which is nice because I've been sitting on this for a couple months now, and it's always nice just to put stuff out there and finally see what the reception is going to be like. I also wanted to, if you guys have enough time, to show just like a quick compilation that my friend put together of like things that are possible with the ArrowDynamix concept. Due to just certain conditions, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do a trailer for the V2s by this week. But if you kind of can tell what's possible with the black and white ones, then you'll know that it's equally as applicable with the V2s.
Nice.
So
yeah,
let's check it out.
Yeah. So, all right, is it showing?
Yep.
All right, so the music's off on this, just so we can do like some commentary on it if you so desire.
I see. I love that. Was actually insane. I was not expecting like the yell into like a fan there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, that's Kyle. He's the cameraman for that video.
Nice.
I think this might be Nick.
Hey, some things that I see it, I'm just like, how do they do it? Like, how do you like this move? How do you move that fast and get your fingers in the spots you need to?
Yeah, that's Yang Chan from China. He's a beast.
Yeah, I love the way these arrows like fit in so perfectly with the motion, and really like they just add so much to it. The fact that you're still able to follow and focus on the arrows throughout the motion, it's just amazing. I love it.
So good.
Yeah, he actually made custom gimmicks for this part.
That's cool.
So this compilation was cut together by my friend Shivraj, part of his brand Diagnosis.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which we'll link to his channel below as well. He really is. We'll link to his YouTube channel and his site below as well, because that's a phenomenal compilation. And I think the funny thing about it too is those moves were all so like perfectly built around the cards, but they probably barely scratched the surface of all of the variations and movements you can use the ArrowDynamix decks to create and amplify because of those arrows.
Yeah, and the cool thing, and I've said this to you before, the one thing that I really enjoy about this deck is, we see a lot of cardistry decks, and they're very cool looking. But this deck, when you see the movements, you can, like Tyler said, you can follow each movement, and just the way the movement is created is so different. It looks so different than when you're doing it with a standard cardistry deck or any cardistry deck. I think when you have something on the face of a card and it's the same, right, or if it's a picture or if it's a text or something like that, it looks totally different than when you have arrows and you're following them around.
Yeah, I think that's due in large part to the fact that the arrow is a ubiquitous symbol. You see it everywhere. Like if you're on the road, you depend on it to keep you on the path that you're supposed to be on. Elevator buttons are the same way, whether it's the buttons to summon the elevator up and down, or if it's like the thing on the inside to show you how many floors you're on. Level up, level down, volume, and music is that way too.
I mean, even on our keyboard that we use every day, it's literally everywhere.
Yeah, swiping left, swiping right, also having like this arrow.
Swipe left, swipe right. I don't know how to do it. I've never actually done that.
I think one of the interesting things about it too, and as we were talking about how much the arrows really impact the visuals, it kind of created an idea in my mind how great this deck would also be for tutorials, because you could tie the next motion or the action that's actually happening with an arrows to kind of reinforce the direction that cards are going for people who are learning. Like, hey, when you're doing something as simple as like the worm, you can see how the arrows are going and what direction they're moving to get to where you need to be to have the full move, you know?
Yeah, as long as it's like a single take, because if you do multiple takes, the arrows might not be facing the same directions if you're doing the same move. But it does provide for like a consistent reference point for a finger positioning if you need to know where to go with certain moves. So, for example, in the example that you gave about the worm, you know, you're doing the move here, and if you talk about like where your pinky needs to be for this packet, being on the tail end of this arrow here, it can be easier for people to know where to put their fingers and so on.
Oh yeah.
That's so cool.
I really should learn that. That move right there with the version 1 would be really cool for you.
Just the 4 cards. I'll have to figure that out. I still need to get into the whole learning how to do cardistry and just for the finger dexterity aspects of it, but I'll get into it. New year, that'll be my 2021 resolution.
New Year's resolution, yeah.
Well, we'll see how it goes, but
oh yeah, there you go.
Do I lose the direction? Oh, I do lose the direction when I do the middle one. Well, I guess not. Well, yeah, I guess you do lose it. Oh, I lost that middle one. Damn it.
Yeah, you can experiment with different setups and arrangements. Like,
yeah.
Oh, so I don't have all 4 of these here with me, but talking about like the extra cards that come with the 52 card deck. I don't have the add card that links to the social media on one side. But there is a card.
So this one right here.
Oh, on the V1s? Yes, yeah. So that's.
Is it the same stuff on the V1s as it is on the V2?
It is, except it doesn't have the thank you portion on the other side. Not that I'm not thankful anymore, but
right. So you have that. Yeah, that's the thank you side.
Yeah, on the other side of that now is the words ArrowDynamics with a whole bunch of arrows pointed out through it, kind of like a radio.
Really cool. That's really cool.
So they come with that card. This is the first one. This is the Start Here card. On the back side, it's supposed to have a part that says pointers.
Okay.
Which Steve has on the V1. So they suggest 3 different ways that you can use the deck for cardistry. Basically, like stacking cards so that you can create patterns and formations with them, or coming up with moves, creating stuff based on where the arrows tell you to go. And third way is just to do whatever and just revel in the chaos of arrows just moving around, which over time I've come to like. It's really interesting to just do stuff with the arrows, and every now and then you'll stumble across something that just works really well when you're not looking for it.
I mean, anytime I pick up a deck for cardistry, it's always chaos, buddy, just to let you know.
Yeah. There's the spin card. So this one, I believe, goes counterclockwise, and on the other side, it goes clockwise. So you can like throw this card in if you're doing like a move that maybe something is in the center and you want it to spin. You can add this in there.
It's very
I just had a photo come out on the Momentum Instagram with this tessellation here.
Yeah, that looks so cool.
That really does.
Now, how the heck did you do that?
Tape. But it's a legit move where you can like place the cards in like this cross formation, and then by slipping cards in between, kind of weave it together.
Okay.
So that they can all stay together. It was based on like an old bar bet where you told the person, I can like use 2 fingers and pick up all 6 of these cards with just these 2 fingers, and so they would tessellate and weave the 6 cards together in that formation and just pick it up from the middle like that.
Oh, that's really
interesting.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Now, do you have opposing colors in the V2 as well?
No, there's just the one. So this is the one card, and as a replacement for the other one, there's now a go sign.
Oh, cool!
And a stop sign.
That's cool, dude. You can do so many games with this deck. That's cool. Yeah.
No, it looks so good. I really dig the evolution of this. Yeah, I like this evolution. I like the fact that, again, like, you know, like Steve mentioned earlier, there's nothing wrong with the recolor, but like this is so much more than a recolor, which is so cool. Like, I like the fact that you're continuously evolving this concept, because not only was the V1 a really amazing concept and a visually striking concept, but now bringing more aspects into it for V2, you've made it that much cooler and that much better.
Yeah. And you can use both decks at the same time, right? Because they're obviously similar enough where, you know, you can utilize just cool patterns and throw more, you know, ideas in routines.
Yeah, it just occurred to me that it might be possible to Faro like half of one deck into the other, and then just do stuff and see how it turns out.
That would be really cool. That would be cool. Even like something as simple as like a giant fan, where you have like the outer being the yellow or the black and the inner being the like V1 versus V2, depending on which way you go, could be really visually striking as well.
Actually, Kevin, since you're the only one that has the prototype, well, I mean, I don't know if that's true, but seeing that you're the only one that has the prototype on the plug right now and have put it in video, you can actually be the first one to do that Faro and see if you can create anything cool out of it.
Well, let's see. So, I'm estimating here that I've got 26.
I know, right? It's so, you know what the funny thing is about just card handling is I in the beginning when I started learning how to Faro, I would never be in the middle of the deck. And then just with practice, you're pretty damn close after you practice. Yeah. It's kind of funny.
It's a knack for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah.
So cool.
I think if I move down a little bit, you can try for yellow as the outer layer.
Oh my god, yeah, that's awesome cool. Too. I love that. See, so for anyone out there who has the V1, the V2 is a natural pickup. You need to be getting that because it's just something you can continue to expand those visuals. And I think this is one of my favorite decks, I think, for this year already.
Oh, thank you so much.
Like, I mean, honestly, man, it's and again, being not like a huge, I love watching cardistry because I love the movement and the visuals. Not being big into cardistry myself, I'm sure there's so much more that can go on with this deck that I'm not even aware of. But I really respect the way it looks in motion. It just, like I said, you have so much experience in cardistry. You took that experience and really created something that amplifies the beauty of cardistry, which I think is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I think that one great direction that these can go in, no pun intended, is with loops.
Yeah.
So I might have to get a bit of moisture going. So this is a back palm loop that I think Noel, Zach, and Chase came up with.
That's cool.
That is so cool.
This kind of repeats endlessly.
I mean, some of that stuff is so easy to do. And it's so cool looking, you know. I mean by easy, I mean comparatively to so many other things. Like that's, you know, you learn that palming move is like a magic move, right? You know, it's like when you make a card disappear. You know,
that's where backdrop came from.
So it's that same type of move when you're pulling it out of that packet. You know, so it's not necessarily a hard move, but it looks so cool. And obviously with that deck, you know, with the whatever version 1 or 2, you know, you get that cool movement and directional aspect of it rather than with just a back, you know, that has a picture on it or text or something like that.
Right.
In my book, this would definitely fall under like the oddly satisfying hashtag for sure. I think it's something like that especially with the loops, like, if you did like the loops and then actually cut it into like a perfect loop video, like I could see people watching that for hours, just sitting there like mesmerized by it because it is
That'll be trippy.
Cool. Yeah.
Posted on Whoa Dude.
There you go. Oh man. Well, for everybody watching, make sure to check out momentumcards.com tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. These are going to be dropping for sale. So make sure to pick up your ArrowDynamix V2. They are absolutely amazing looking cards. And while you're at it, go to follow Momentum Cards and Kevin on Instagram. So you not only get kept in the loop for any future ArrowDynamix decks, but just awesome content all around.
Yeah, just a small interjection. The website is momentum.cards. I
There
don't
we
have
go.
a .com domain for it.
There we go. Momentum.cards.
Yeah.
Yes. Which I love. You know,
Yeah, I love it too.
A lot of them are like so confusing when they add the dot at the end, and you're like, what is it? But this, you know, momentum.cards is
yes, momentum.cards. It is easy. I love the fact that they're allowing like top level domains like that now too for like specific things and actually seeing brands utilize them. But momentum.cards, 11 a.m. tomorrow, which is the 24th, you will be able to pick up the V2s. Make sure you pick them up quick. I have a feeling these are going to sell out a lot faster than the V1s, especially.
Oh, should I mention the price?
Let's hear it. Yeah, what's the price going to be?
Yeah, so they're retailing for 15, but for the first 24 hours, they're going for just $10.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Dude,
so definitely pick them up within the first 24 hours.
And orders of 6 decks or more get a cool half brick box to go with them. I don't have it on hand, but if you give me a second, I can show off the V1 half brick box.
Yeah, let's see it.
Yeah, for sure. Full show.
Alrighty, so this was the half brick box that came for the version 1s.
Oh damn, I love that. It's
it has the tessellation embossed on the box.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
with
that is
the
dope.
Momentum logo on one side, and then a cheeky sort of, this way up, just so we can get more arrows. And yeah, they'll fit six decks.
I love that. That's so cool.
Aerodynamics decks, just whichever decks you want to put in here. It's a fun little box. I like it. It's also tessellated on the inside too.
Nice. And at $10 a steal for those first 24 hours, that V2 is going to be an absolute worthwhile deck to grab. I mean,
yeah, it's Christmas Eve. Treat yourself.
Yeah, go for it. Pick up a brick. And here's the funny thing about it. I have no doubt that anyone who's big into cardistry who picks up this deck, even if they didn't pick up the V1, this is going to become one of your favorite cardistry decks just because the visuals on it are so clean and so striking. Pick up at least half a brick. Pick up a full brick if you can. I mean, 120 for a brick of cardistry decks is an absolute steal. So
yeah, I mean that's an everyday carry for sure.
Yeah,
Too bad people can't get the V1, but if you have the V1, if you have 3 of them, you can get the half brick and mix the boxes. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for coming on and telling us a little bit about the ArrowDynamix V2. We're really excited for the deck to drop. And for anyone who's watching, like I said, all the links are going to be down below, so make sure to check it out. Make sure to like the video while you're at it and also subscribe to the channel. And keep an eye out on Kevin's page. You never know what's going to be coming out next with his brand.
Peace.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed.
Thank you guys for having me on.
No, it's our pleasure, man. Thank you so much. And we're excited to see what Momentum Cards does in the future. So
heck yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. See you, everyone.